Ben, it's great to speak with you. I've really been looking forward to this. Maybe you can tell the viewers a bit about yourself and kind of like what you're doing these days.
Sure, man. I am doing a lot these days, and that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to talk to you and actually use MindStudio and share it with all the people that I know because I'm starting to save more time. And for me, that's huge. I recently got married and have 5 kids now, and left a position at a business where I was helping them to grow through software automation, through their sales and some business management. And now I'm just taking all of the different experiences that I've had and creating my own business to help other businesses automate their processes. It's very much in alignment with what MindStudio does. Right away, what I have been lately doing is working with my wife's business, and she's an intuitive, and she doesn't know how to market herself because how do you explain that she has this ability that most people think doesn't exist, right? Or there's no scientific basis for how it works. And so it's a challenge to explain what she does. And so basically, she has an online coaching business where I created AI with MindStudio to write pitches. And these pitches basically talked about Heather, my wife, and then it also took in information about the partner through scraping the URL or pasting in information, and then it writes a compelling pitch so you don't have to go through the thought process or think about strategically how are you going to format the email to get responses, and you can go one after the next and actually stay consistent with it and make a meaningful impact. And for somebody like my wife who's just really heart-based and just likes to have fun and play, marketing and explaining and selling, it's not her focus. And so I basically created Heather AI. So we got it to sound like her through figuring out how to create a just description of how she writes and speaks, and then including that in the prompt. And that was actually part of what made me think of there's got to be a solution like MindStudio, and I quickly found you guys and have been following you really closely ever since.
That's awesome. Prior to doing this project for your wife, you were at a company and you were doing some process automation there.
Yeah, it was a super mixed bag job because I had basically gone through different positions at the company, and then I became the operations manager, basically the liaison between the two owners and everybody else. On one side, I was in charge of building out our ERP for automating everything from manufacturing steps and quality control in manufacturing to the sales process, the customer management, the accounting, financial reporting. So we were connecting all of that together and just streamlining the financial reporting for the company too. And yeah, so that was an amazing project, and that was part of what I was doing. And on the other side, I was managing the different teams and helping the vision of the owners come through. And this was a interesting, challenging project, similar to like I was describing with my wife. They sell crystal singing bowls for meditation. They actually created the ones that they add crystals to the quartz base. So like amethyst or rose quartz or diamond, they add that into the melt. People use it for meditation and healing and stuff like that. They needed help with their marketing and with their customer service and with just explaining, hey, what is this and how can it be applied, and do it in a way that really reaches that market, which is once again a really heart based market. And that's what I love to focus on is people with a mission, and that's why I'm Zen Business. So on that note, though, with the software automation, really quick with them, Something that's interesting is we were building a pricing automation system. So basically, the steps that it took to create a bowl would build out the price and build out the name. And they were like art. So each one was one of a kind. There was never two that was the same. So it created a really unique pricing situation. And to this day, they don't offer the suggested retail price to their resellers. So I just recently sent a pitch to them with an AI built with MindStudio that prices their products through prompting, that before we were spending months of time to try to do this, and it wasn't ever perfect. And now, literally in an afternoon, I built something that outperformed what we built before. This is just an example of why I'm so excited and really can see the value in this and just want to share that with people because we have better things to do in our lives than just be on computers all day.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's clear that no matter what kind of a endeavor you are, what kind of organization, business, enterprise, you could be an individual or a loosely coupled organization or a giant enterprise or a government agency or whatever. If you digest everything for like, why are you doing it? Is you've got some kind of a mission and hopefully you believe in it and you're doing good for the world and you want to be successful at it. And success is a function of what? Well, a function of performance of some sort, of efficiency, of productivity, of good decision making, of the ability to foresee the future and be nimble to take advantage of opportunities, like all those things that are necessary for any kind of endeavor to be successful. Well, generative AI is perfect for addressing things in that dimension, the dimension of efficiency, productivity, insight, like all of those things. And so, no matter what kind of a business you are, it totally makes sense that you found profound use for it in Mind Studio and for using generative AI. Whether you're doing automation for a bigger company or you're doing a project for your wife, and it sounds like now you're going to be doing projects more broadly for various folks. You've kind of left your job and you're building sort of a practice of this, a consultancy, an agency. Do you know how you're referring to yourself?
Yes, I am describing myself as a custom AI software agency. What I am doing right now is I'm actually using the same tool that I built for my wife to send really personalized pitches to people. And I'm looking to form partnerships, real partnerships, where I can either teach them or their audience about how using MindStudio or AIs like this can help them save a lot of time and get improved quality or just more free time, whatever that might be. It is more broad, and I'm kind of exploring different things. Right now, I'm just reaching out through my network, and there's a lot of people already interested. I have more meetings than I've ever had booked on my calendar. I'm booked now through the end of June solid, so people are interested once they can understand how much it can really apply to their situation.
Yeah, right before recording this with you, I was on with another person who also is running an agency, and they focus specifically on agencies, on various services companies, and they help them go and automate using Mind Studio and do that. And we were talking about just like how much demand there is. There's like constant technological waves that evolve. Used to be that only giant enterprises had information technology, had computers, mainframes. And then in the 80s, all organizations sort of leveled up and started getting, personal computers. And then they trained people to use various software packages. And then we got mobile and we got cloud, we got the web, we got all of that. And each one of those sort of presents opportunities for enterprises to be able to do this process they call digital transformation to level up their infrastructure and processes. And there's huge success stories that come out of each one of these waves. New companies being formed, agencies doing really well because there's like so much demand that's all of a sudden generated. I started writing code in 1984. So I've seen a whole bunch of those waves come and ridden them, but never anything like this, where I think one, because we're all connected now with social media and sort of information spreads so rapidly, and because this generative AI is sort of so fascinating and threatening and like all of these things. It seems like everybody simultaneously said, I want it. So now this opportunity for anyone like yourself that says, hey, I want to build these things for enterprises. It used to be like you had to go and create demand. Now it's the opposite. Now you got to figure out how to like time manage and prioritize and how do you pick them? Like it becomes sort of like new challenges. You have to like filter opportunities, like to choose which ones you take. That's rare in enterprise software.
Right, yeah, that makes sense, and I'm just getting into this and just sort of launching, so I'm really curious to see how this goes, and, just the results that I've seen in the first couple months is really powerful, and, I mean, you just nailed it on so many things. Once I do start to get some of these, my next thought is, "Man, I need a couple of other guys with me who can build this out too," because there's opportunity for a handful of AIs for companies. So I just can imagine myself, like you're saying, having so much opportunity and wanting to scale because I do wanna grow my business and I eventually have a team.
So if one of your friends who works at whatever, any company, showed up and said, hey, we're thinking about doing something with AI, do you have like any recommendations for them?
Oh, you mean if somebody were to approach me
Yeah, somebody just
just
approached you randomly as a friend of yours and said, "Hey, like my company's thinking about doing AI. I heard you're doing something with AI. How should we go about it? Do you have any sort of advice yet for them?"
Yes, definitely. When I talk to somebody about what they're looking to automate with AI, it really depends on their use case. So I just first drill down into, okay, what are you actually doing daily or weekly or monthly that you want to speed up or enhance or just totally automate? And then from there, I'll just explain to them that you're going to pay to use the premium models, the premium results, the premium quality to save you the most amount of time. But in my opinion, what you're saving is well worth what you're paying. In addition to that, really the key for me is to explain to them the difference between just using ChatGPT and MindStudio because you can actually put layers of prompts or instructions and multiple steps with ChatGPT 4.0 or other models too, like Claude 3 Opus, some of these really powerful models now that are changing everything again. I try to explain as much as they can understand and show how much it really can save them and or improve the quality or creativity. And I think it's helping a lot of people and it's ultimately going to do a lot of good for people because like you're saying, it's spreading through enterprises, but it's also able to spread through individuals and into different communities on totally different levels. In my mind, this is helping all of us humans be that much more human. We're not losing our humanity to the AI. I feel like it's going to allow us to be more in our happiness.
I totally agree. I'm a big burner, Burning Man. Been 13 years. I also have 5 kids, and all my kids were planned around Burning Man. So my wife would have a big belly at the burn, and so I very much agree that the meaning I'm in this case I'm a techno optimist. Not always a techno optimist, but in this case I am. Where yeah, AI it will take the work we don't want to do, the thing we had to do, but really didn't want to do because it really wasn't creative. It was mostly repetitive stuff, processing a bunch of data, collating things, and analyzing a bunch of things. And while it's not the worst work in the world, it's certainly not the higher order creative work. And AI can do the heavy lifting. And when it does that, then that frees us up to be able to do amazing new creative work that fulfills us and is more aligned and like goody, goody, goody. And it just so happens to be that that's great for enterprises because burnout is a real thing and disgruntled employees is a real thing and bottlenecks are a real thing. And this eliminates bottlenecks, makes employees happier because they don't have to do mundane stuff. They get to be creative. The organization is much more efficient. Costs go down, quality goes up. Really, really powerful return on investment. Spending the time to figure out how to leverage all of these new technologies and use them for whatever endeavor, right? Again, lots of burner friends doing burner projects, leveraging AI as part of their workflow or doing optimizations or automations or all that stuff. So, yeah, when I use the term enterprise, I use it extraordinarily loosely. I mostly like to use sort of the word endeavor, whatever it is that you're endeavoring to do. You can figure out how to take advantage of generative AI in that workflow now.
That's so right. So yeah, last question maybe then for you, or comment and curiosity of my own, especially since you've been in the tech space for so long and so deeply in it. The crystal singing bowls I was mentioning, originally the technology was invented to grow the silicon ingot that they cut and put into computer chips. And so to me, it's extremely fascinating, this vessel that's creating these critical components for computers on one hand, and this technology on one hand, is also simultaneously this really powerful tool for brainwave entrainment and meditation. This one technology, the crystal bowl, is facilitating these two polar opposite sides. And I'm exploring where they meet and in our future for people to liberate into more creative things, things that make them more happy, like you're saying so beautifully, and like I'm trying to say too. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. What an awesome endeavor. I'm not sure if I've seen a crystal ball, but I think it makes sense to me. That would be beautiful and powerful. Also, I think it's a great fit to your point that you can use material to make both microchips and enlighten people at the same time. And that totally makes sense, actually, to me. Are you familiar with Alan Watts?
yeah, I've heard the name, but not familiar really.
I think Alan always did a marvelous job at enjoying these types of situations where, you know, he'd talk about a fan. It's like, this isn't like one of these Chinese fans. This is a back scratcher, right? And so multi-purpose. And that's the way the universe is.
That's right. Yeah,
Fun chatting with you. I appreciate you taking the time. And if there's anything that I can do to help, please let's keep in touch and don't hesitate to reach out.
perfect. Yeah, I'm coming up with some really creative stuff and being introduced to some really super smart people that can really benefit from this. And there may be some calls coming up that I'll let you guys know about, and maybe one of you can come on and help me take it to the next step.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely use us for that.